Good afternoon. Welcome back to United TV. Vinicius Jr. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the news, and I'm going to start by saying the percentage chance I think of Vinicius Jr. being a Manchester United player is probably lower than the percentage I gave too many, which I gave about 3%. But there does seem to be a relentless amount of news coming out. I still think that this is going to be contract negotiation time for Vinicius Jr. But if you're watching live, we're going to just be going through the story, but also we'll talk about other options as well, about potential options Man United might be looking at. If you're watching on a replay, I know people will watch on a replay and think, okay, this is not going to happen. Just give me a percentage of what you think is the chance. If you think it's zero, just put zero. But just to see that some people might think there's a chance. I've got a poll running in the live comments. Please vote whether you think there's got any chance at all. And I'm just thinking, does this have all the hallmarks of Real Madrid player wants a new contract? Are Manchester United being used in the same way? We just see this happening time and time again. I said exactly the same with Tchouaméni. There's still journalists saying that Tchouaméni is going to leave Real Madrid, join Manchester United, despite signing a new contract. So we're going to go through this. A lot of sources, I have to say, are coming from Spain. We haven't got credible sources on this at the moment. When I say credible, I mean when Ornstein talks about something, it's pretty much happening or is about to happen. But when a lot of other journalists talk, it is just talk. And I still think contract negotiation is going to be something inevitable. But we'll go through the stories as a discussion and say, so this is the story that's been breaking this morning saying Real Madrid say Vinicius Jr. wanting to extend his contract or they'll look to sell him. So it seems the same energy as Tchouaméni. Sign a new contract, like you've got a couple of years left in your contract, sign a new one, or you're going to be moved out of the club. So I'm going to go into the other part of the story in a second. I'll go through some of the live comments as well. So if you're in the chat, please get your thoughts and comments and questions in. Bilal says too many first now. Say Vinicius, who's next? Maybe Camavinga is also there. I mean, I'm guessing like some of the other players. Mbappe moved there quite recently, so not him. But no, this is definitely going to be a list of players as well. I suppose one of the questions is going to be, I'll just put this other story while I go through the chat. The other question is going to be, if Real Madrid make a serious move to go and get Olise, how much is Olise going to cost? Are we talking like 200, 220, 240? Are we going to see what is an astronomical transfer fee? And despite the wealth of Real Madrid, can they afford to spend that amount of money? I know we look at Liverpool spent a lot on Isak and Liverpool spent a lot on Wirtz. One player over 200 million. If we're looking at that, then I think this is why people are suggesting that maybe they balance the books by selling Vinicius. And I think if you're looking at it, how much money would Camavinga bring in? It's not going to be close enough. Too many would, I think, be at least 100 million. But this is why the story's been put out there. Again, can Real Madrid afford to buy Olise without selling anybody? We'll have to see. If they do try and buy Olise, we might see something crazy happen. It doesn't mean he's going to join Man United. Manchester United do not tend to spend, certainly in recent years, we're not spending a huge amount on player salaries, are we? So that would be a strange one as well. Nighttide Dice says 130. Actually, one of the things I hadn't even thought about, because I kind of dismissed it early on, I thought, as soon as I saw the Vinicius story, my first reaction was, right, I can't really see this happening. But in terms of this, then, what would be a price? What would be the price he goes for? Saying he's got 2 years left on his contract. So 130 for Vinicius is laughable. I mean, I've seen Morgan Rogers being discussed at that sort of price point. So, how much would Vinicius go for? That is one where I have no idea. I mean, if Elise costs 200, 220, 240, how much does he cost? He looked incredibly good in the World Cup. He was probably Brazil's most dangerous player. 170 says JDC. Say world-class player, but very divisive character. Now, I think with this one, yeah, definitely. When I've spoken to a few people, I think Vinicius Jr. is incredibly popular with a lot of people. There's a few other people that say no, he would be just a problem for your club, and so yeah, I mean it's going to be one where I don't think Manchester United fans are going to be. I don't think it's a problem we're going to have to worry about. To be honest, I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about this one. Mark, you could well be on the money as well, saying he must be due a new contract. So according to Spanish sources, 2 years left on his contract. I think pretty much in modern football, 2 years left on your contract because of the huge amount that players are worth. It becomes a situation where you can't let a player get to the final year because otherwise, if a player walks for three, for free, you're going to get obviously no money. But the problem is that when it gets to 2 years, the balance of power starts shifting towards the player. So on a 5 year contract, there's not much the player can do. The club can charge what they want. You're under contract for a lot of time. When you start getting to 2 years, then the club really want you to sign an extra contract. Otherwise, you're going to start pushing towards that 18 months, 1 year. Suddenly, the player's got all the power, and it could be a negotiation thing. It could be that for Vinicius Junior might have 0% interest in leaving the club, the same way that too many did, and maybe this is a negotiation tactic as well. But no, you're right, Mark. Contract time, I think, is the kind of what's happening here. So we'll be linked with Mbappe. Yeah, if we're linked with Mbappe, then yeah, it'd be ridiculous, isn't it? So why does the fan base do this to ourselves? I think most people, particularly in the comment section in this channel, I think most people look at this and they kind of smile to themselves and think, yeah, okay, you can put this story out. We can talk about it, but I think most people deep down think, right, no, Vinicius Junior is probably not a Manchester United target. There are a few journalists that are probably trying to push the angle that Manchester United are significantly involved in this sort of thing. So I think when you look at it, that we're going to dismiss it on this channel. We're going to say this doesn't happen. It's a contract negotiation situation. But don't be surprised if other people push this as this could happen sort of type thing. I mean, the chance of it happening seems to be quite remote. But let me go for a few of the comments as well. If you're yeah, Madrid are plotting something, but I don't think it's going to be to our benefit, is it? I don't think anything Real Madrid do is going to benefit us. If anything, there's more likelihood of Real Madrid doing some sort of deal with Bayern Munich. If you look at that Bayern Munich are going to win the league next year, probably. Real Madrid want to win the Spanish league and get back into serious contention to win the Champions League. There's probably more likelihood if they're looking at Vinicius Junior moving out, they're looking at Elise coming in. I mean, I can't really see Vinicius Junior moving to the Bundesliga, but I'd imagine that if any Real Madrid players are going to be going, now maybe there might be someone as a make weight in that deal, so possibly there could be something along those lines. I mean, interesting, I suppose, point is if Bayern Munich sell Elise, that's a massive loss to them. Really good player. They're going to have a load of cash. Who would they buy to replace him? I mean, I can't see Rashford really stepping up and replacing Elise, so that would again be a big factor. My guess would be, I don't think Elise goes. Like, unless we see something which is going to be something phenomenal, I don't think we're going to see him leave the club. So I think Vinicius Junior will be a Real Madrid player. I think Elise will still be a Bayern Munich player. I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but you never know. I'd imagine that Elise would be quite up for moving to Real Madrid, but I'm not sure if I could see it happening myself. Thanks, people that have been clicking the like. Please do that as well if you're able to. Big up to you, Daz. G Wolf is really busy this weekend, but I would really be interested to take his stance on this one because he absolutely loves Vinicius Junior. This stream is not to bait him. This is like we talked about this last night. We did discuss it, and I was saying that, and I think I said last night that there's Vinicius Junior stories every couple of days. And I thought, right, I'll just do one stream. We'll just cover each story we've seen, and then we'll forget about it. And hopefully this kind of dies down. Hopefully this is the first and last time we're going to be discussing Vinicius Junior. And I would not be surprised if in a few days, I don't think Vinicius Junior is going to mess about too much. I think he wants to stay at Madrid, so we'll have to see. Um, Purpose says, I've always thought Real Madrid will try and get Bruno Fernandes at some point. I hope there's not links to Bruno Fernandes. I mean, if it does happen, I'm not sure if the release clause is still there, but I'm looking at a situation where I think Manchester United at the moment, if Bruno Fernandes goes for, let's say, 50, 55 million, that would be a big problem for us. Maybe this is a bigger issue for Man United fans is going to be if Bruno Fernandes got sold. I don't think it's going to be a not a lot of money. The transfer window at the moment, is it enough for Bruno Fernandes to actually go? Actually, no, I want to stay at Man United. That's going to be a difficult conversation. So maybe a general question is this transfer window at the moment. Are Man United doing enough for Bruno Fernandes to look at it and go, great, we're going to win the title next season? Like, is this enough to keep Bruno at the club? Because at the moment, we can talk about Santos and Tielemans, but at the moment, if you're Bruno Fernandes, like we don't look very close to a title challenge, do we? So if Bruno Fernandes wants to win trophies, I think it must be, yeah, it must be. They need to do some bigger deals. I'm not going to say like a Vinicius Junior is happening. Don't don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Manchester United need to put in a good performance in this transfer window to at least give. If Bruno Fernandes wants to assess his options, I think Man United need to show they're serious about trying to win trophies rather than just maintaining like a top four status. Yeah, no, he probably would be as well. I mean, until anything gets ruled out, I'm sure that G Wolf would be interested, and I'm sure some people would be interested as well. I mean, just a question as well. I don't think it's going to be 100% people voting, 100% people voting, like saying no. If you think there's a chance of him going to Man United, let me know why you think that is. And Dan is saying that he's a problem. That's why Madrid wants shot of him. Then it seems that also his contract is what a couple of years to go. I'd imagine Real Madrid would want a big transfer fee. Yeah, I did say on the screen they got 130 million there, but do you think that's realistic? Because I think at the moment somebody did post it. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Stephanie. It might have been someone very early before the stream started saying how much Vinicius Junior's contract is going to be. And United Dice says if Anderson is like 160 million, 130 million euros, Vinicius Junior, one of the best players in the world, regardless of his contract status, is going to be a lot more. This is it. Stephanie said so. I don't know 100% for sure how much how much it's going to be, how much he gets paid, but 700k. I think did he go there on a free contract? So big up to you, Andy. Saying afternoon, chaps. I've been saying this. Got a feeling we're going to go for a big shirt seller. So Almax says you're on record as saying Bruno Fernandes last year 100 million. You would have driven him to the airport yourself. He was he was definitely a key player last season, though. Al, I do appreciate now. Man United will have to replace him at some point as well. I say Mourinho won't do us any favors. I think with Real Madrid, like if you look at Real Madrid players leaving the club, I think Real Madrid would sell to whoever's going to pay the most. And I can't really see. I'm just trying to think who he would go for. Then the amount of money that Man City has spent recently, surely Vinicius Junior is off the table. Like that's got to be. And let me bring you onto the third article I saw. This is the one where they're kind of hyping up Man United a little bit, and they're saying Manchester United would be the only club that can financially afford a transfer of the sort of Vinicius Junior level. That's what they're saying in terms of like the thing is though, if Elise goes, then Bayern Munich could afford that. Paris Saint-Germain, I'm assuming, like I know they haven't spent crazy amounts of money. They spent a decent amount of money, but they don't have a huge wage bill. They could probably afford that given like Paris Saint-Germain twice Champions League winners, the amount of prize money that is ridiculous as well. So I think Bayern Munich. I don't know what Arsenal's financial situation would be like, but Champions League finalists and semi-finalists the year before. That's a huge amount of money as well going to Arsenal. So I think Arsenal can spend quite big. I'm not sure whether they go for someone like Vinicius, but I hope they don't actually, because that would be a very dangerous player for them. But no, and again, I think Liverpool spent so big. I'm not sure they could afford Vinicius, but also his wage is going to be phenomenal. But this is one of the stories where when you see some news, these are kind of the stories that hype up Man United's interest, and that. But also, I think one of the things that these journalists are not considering, and I think this is a Real Madrid source, is Manchester United's owners like we're lowering the wage bill where not offering a big contract to Matheus Fernandes. We're not offering a big contract to Semenyo when we're looking at Man United interest in Semenyo in January. Can you see Man United suddenly going, look, we don't want to pay 200 or 220 for certain players. Are we going to suddenly give Vinicius Junior what he wants? That for me, that just makes less sense than anything that's happened in football for a long time as well. And Kate Cadet says you can't operate the transfer window on a shoestring budget all summer. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Manchester United can't do like cheap deal after cheap deal and go, no, we've got Santos, his contract. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's probably similar to Mainu's. And we got Tielemans' contract. Okay, it's going to be more, but he's obviously older, more experienced. You can't suddenly go, right, we got Casemiro's contract off the books, we got Sanchez's contract off the books, we're going to give both those contracts to Vinicius Junior. Like, that would not make any sense at all. So I think that's the least likely, like, it's one of the least likely things Man United would ever do, isn't it? If he did it, if this deal happened, I mean, I did say that I could see no scenario where Matheus Fernandes went to Spurs. Okay, that I or maybe I underestimated Manchester United's ability to get very close to a deal and just not get the deal done. But with this situation, I can't see any scenario where Man United have Vinicius Junior in their team. I really can't. If we did, then we'd have to do some sort of stream where we go, right, here's a stream, what has happened. So Vinicius Junior earns, so if he earns about 400k a week, then I guess with this one, how much would Man United have to pay him? Would it be a bit more than that? I know it's slightly different, but he might be looking for a bit of a pay rise as well. So yeah, no, exactly. I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. So when you say Manchester United is the only team that can afford him, it's nonsense, isn't it? Because at the moment, no one knows how much Vinicius Junior is going to cost. If he's going to cost 130 or 150, I mean, this is not beyond the realms of deals that Liverpool have done. It's not significantly more than deals that Man City have done. You look at Arsenal paying over 100 million for Declan Rice, Caicedo costing Chelsea over 100 million. Lots of Premier League teams have spent over 100 million pounds on players in the last 4 or 5 years. And so if you're, if you're on a bit more, then other teams that are in the Champions League can certainly afford him as well. And I think, if anything, Manchester United, we got the least likely owners to spend that sort of money. That's probably the talking point, I would say. So, yeah, Chelsea could probably afford him as well. The question I've got is that you would prefer to be in for Elise. Is Elise going to cost even more than Vinicius Junior? Like, but Elise, clearly at the moment, I think Elise is probably, you probably put him like near the top of the top of the list of like players that you want to buy at the moment. Like, looked very good in the World Cup, pretty neutralised by Spain. So you would say that the way Spain play at the moment, they've got to be favourites for the final. But I prefer to be in for Elise in terms of that one. I mean, there was definitely a lot of talk about Elise probably 2 or 3 years ago on YouTube. I don't know if a lot of people, like some people will say they could see Elise kicking up to this level. I don't know. I wouldn't say I was one of the people that thought Elise would be this good a few years ago. But no, he's doing really well. And he would be the one player that I think people would break the bank for. That I think with Vinicius Junior, if you're going to spend the same amount of money, Vinicius Junior, there's no doubt that he's a talented player. There's no doubt he's got a lot of ability. I think people question whether there's other things off the pitch that make it not the best team environment having Vinicius. And now maybe with Real, you know that Mourinho going there, Mourinho doesn't take too much crap. So I can see Tchouaméni being a player he wants to build around. I can see other players he wants to have at the club. Do you think that the president here and Mourinho, like, how much say does Mourinho have? Would Mourinho be happy to move Vinicius Junior on and maybe look at other players that maybe going to be, I don't know, better for the team overall, better for the environment at Real Madrid? Because there's no doubt that there's a lot of negativity around Real Madrid last season. So again, I don't think Manchester United are at the table. If Vinicius Junior is going to leave, I think he's going to leave to a club that are in a title challenge. I don't think he's going to suddenly go, right, let's try and rebuild Manchester United. That just doesn't make a lot of sense either. And I think from a Man United perspective, there's other players we'd be looking at a bit more likely. I'd say no. In terms of this one with Elise, Bayern Munich have said as a statement that they will not sell any player they cannot get a better player to replace him with. So, like United till I die, you're right. Bayern Munich have said they're not going to sell Elise unless they can have someone of equal quality. And at the moment, is there somebody of equal quality of Elise? Do you think that Vinicius Junior would move from Madrid to Munich? I don't know. I've never been to Madrid. I have been to Munich. I'm not sure it's got the glamour of Madrid. The sunny weather it definitely did not have in Munich either. So I'd be very surprised if Vinicius Junior wants to move to Bayern Munich. So I don't actually know where he'd go. I get the feeling that Vinicius Junior would see out the rest of his contract, leave on a free to get a huge amount of money, or re-sign for a pay rise at Madrid. So I think he's going to be one of these players that it's going to be maybe Real Madrid would prefer to sell him, but I'm not sure Vinicius Junior. I think it might be like a Rashford situation with Vinicius Junior. I think Real Madrid may well want to sell him, but he's not going to go anywhere that can afford him. Like the teams that can afford him, he's not going to be interested in going. There is maybe like I suppose if you're looking at where Vinicius Junior would go, there might be one or two options, but I just can't really see it happening. Um, and big up to you, Matty. Good to see you, Matty. Good to see you, Jim, as well. Vinicius Junior would destroy our dressing room. Can you imagine if Manchester United they worked to get the dressing room kind of back to how we wanted it to be? Michael Carrick's got a great team environment, and then are any of us seriously going to say, right, Michael, we appreciate like we got rid of the bomb squad, everything's nice, the team spirit is excellent. Right, here's Rashford, here's Vinicius Junior. Good luck with this. I just can't see it happening. But if it did happen, and it would be, I mean, it's like a if there was ever like a transfer that was done to sell shirts, this would be the one, wouldn't it? That would be the one where, and I think a lot of people, like Andy in the chat said earlier on, I think a lot of people do always suspect that maybe there's something, maybe there's like a potential shirt seller. The problem is when we did Cristiano Ronaldo deal, then I think we gave Ronaldo a big salary, but there wasn't. I can't remember how much he cost or what the situation was, but it wasn't going to be like a big money deal. So I could see Man United getting some sort of star name, try like a shirt selling. That is something they've done in the past, although it's not something that I really associate with Ineos making the decisions. But it's something that isn't beyond the realms of possibility because of the Glazers. And then you look at it and go, let's see what happens. But if we do the sort of deal that for me isn't really conducive to a team environment, I would just feel like, come on, Man United, like we've done this mistake before. We need to learn from this as well. I say Bayern Munich would probably do the deal if Rashford transferred across. So that's the only thing that I can think of as an interesting thing from a Man United point of view. Is Manchester United? We talked about Rashford yesterday. Man United are not really saying much about the situation apart from there's no negativity, which is a good thing because ultimately I think most people want to see a sale and Rashford goes somewhere else. Is Bayern Munich going to be one of the sort of clubs that maybe Rashford would consider going to? Apparently, he's turned down offers, but I think most people thought that was a Fenerbahce. If Bayern Munich came in, then I don't know. For Rashford, like you get to play with Harry Kane, you're probably going to win a title. I could kind of, that's one of the more credible options. Like if Man United are going to be saying, like, no, we don't want this. I mean, I couldn't really see Marcus Rashford going to Real Madrid. But I could see him going to Bayern Munich. I could see him actually being very successful in the Bundesliga. I did say with Gordon as well. I think you put Gordon in the Bundesliga in Bayern Munich, I think he does really well. So I would think that if you're playing in the Premier League and you're, putting up decent numbers, you're a good player. I think the Bundesliga would be just like, a bit easier for you. So I think either one would work. I think the problem would be is if Bayern Munich lose a player like Elise, they'll still win the Bundesliga, but I think it's going to make it more difficult for them in the Champions League. So I think Bayern Munich's stance regarding their best players, it's not about domestic football because domestically they're a very dominant team. I think Bayern Munich want to win the Champions League as well. And if you look at it, Bayern Munich, they don't tend to they don't tend to spend the sort of money that or get the sort of players in that Real Madrid do. I can't see them being able to outspend teams like Man City and Arsenal. So when you've got some good players at Bayern Munich, you probably want to try and keep those players. You can see that in the past, Bayern Munich have probably hoovered up all the quality players in Germany. Other teams now are selling outside of Germany. They're not selling to Bayern Munich. They're selling to Wirtz going to Liverpool as an example. So German teams are looking to sell players to other clubs rather than Bayern Munich. And I think that Bayern Munich are finding it more difficult to get these sort of players in. So no, I think at the moment, once you've got good players at Bayern Munich, they're probably going to want to keep them. Downstairs, Madrid won't be selling Vinicius Junior. So at the moment, what's the percentage of the poll running on no? Is there anybody watching that thinks that Vinicius Junior goes to Man United? Okay, so just if you do think he's going to go to Man United, let me know your reasons why. I'm going to say no, it's not going to happen. I just want to see if there's anybody that thinks that there is a chance. So if we got Vinicius Junior, we would never get rid of him. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Jim. If we had Vinicius Junior on, I don't know how much it would cost, like 400, 450K a week, or even more than that, then can you imagine that? No, there is no way. There is no way I want to see Man United trying to loan out Vinicius Junior. I mean, it would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? It would be it would be around the sort of time we'd have just got rid of Rashford, maybe this season. Things like Sancho's gone, Casemiro's gone. Everything seems to be like, we got a good kind of baseline to work from now. We got a good squad team spirit to work from. No, this deal for me is like it raises like so many red flags we got on this one. So I don't even know where he'd go to either. We couldn't loan him out to Barcelona, could we? Because that's the problem. No, with this one, like Bayern Munich don't want to do deals with Real Madrid because effectively that is that direct competition, isn't it? So no, I don't think Bayern Munich would ever sell the best players unless it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, feel free to get questions in. We'll do the stream for a little bit longer. Kenny says I'm not buying this Vinicius Junior news. Yeah, don't believe it at all. Kenny is my take on this as well. Just another question as well. I put something on the channel, a post. Manchester United playing Wrexham today. If you want to do if you want there to be a call-in show, let me know and we'll set one up as well. And Dan says United probably buy him for 150 million, 400K a week, loan him out a year later. If they did that, then I mean the problem is like if Man United bought Vinicius Junior, do you think they'd be loaning? No, do you think it wouldn't work? Like, do you think there would be a problem with this? Like Vinicius Junior, I think for him, if he's under contract, then I think United would have to definitely try and get him on some sort of incentive-based contract, which I think is unlikely. But no, it's funny that we're talking about him as a potential signing, although no one thinks it's going to happen. And instantly, the chat is like on how we're going to get rid of him. So I think this kind of says to me, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of people that want this deal to happen. And apart from G Wolf, who's not around today, otherwise we could have like tried to get an alternate view. But at the moment, the poll is what's the poll running on? It's only what 85, 88% no. So 12% of people have 12% of people think this deal is going to happen, it seems. Let me just close the poll, which I find a little bit strange as well. Did anyone actually post a comment saying why they think it's going to happen? So I put any chance Vinicius Junior moves to Man United. 12% of people have said yes, which is like a few votes. So who thinks that this would happen, and what's the reason? Um, do I think do I think England can compete with France? If this is like tonight's game, I don't know. I don't think people are going to be massively interested. I'd imagine that I don't know. I honestly don't know. If Maine's playing, I think Man United fans are going to be a bit annoyed. And Gio's going to host a watch along for that one. And my question is going to be: is there any interest in joining? Dan's voted yes. You voted yes to probably if enough people vote yes, other people just get angry about the vote, when they. Are people going to be watching Manchester United versus Wrexham today? And is there interest in a calling show? Because I can set up a calling show if people are interested in coming on to talk about it. But if there's no interest, then we probably won't bother. But we have done. No, we have put a poll on the channel. If you follow the channel, and you can go to the community page where there's posts, and just click. If you want to come on and talk about it at 6 p.m., let me know. If you want to watch a calling show, let me know, and we will set these up as well. But watching the friendly. Yeah, no, exactly. So if you want to come on, Bilal, if you want me to do a calling show, I can do a calling show at 6 p.m. to discuss the first preseason match. I mean, there might be a few talking points. I mean, Santos might play. We might see a few academy players we might be looking at. Potentially, if you're looking at the situation of does Carrick play the same sort of style of football? I know there's not loads to go on, but again, it's good to talk about actual football rather than what we've been talking about recently. So Alexis Sanchez 2.0. Predict Argentina versus Spain. I think Spain are the best team in the competition, but you can't you can't really rule out Argentina for other reasons. Put it that way. But I'd imagine that from what I saw, Spain they completely neutralised the most dangerous team in the competition. Mbappe, Elise, Dembele, they barely had a kick. They barely got any sort of. They got nothing going. And I thought Spain made them look pretty poor in a lot of that match. I think Spain are one of the best examples of how do you play when you're winning the game. It's a good balance of defense, attack. Also, it's experience. They're competent. They're good in possession. They don't panic. And I think Spain look like the best team at the moment. How it works against Argentina, because I guess Argentina, they started against England a lot of physical tackles. How Spain doing this one? But no, I think what we might see is we might see how good Spain are. So I think with Spain, they don't blow teams away 4 or 5-0, but they do control games and they do completely neutralize other teams sometimes. Where we saw against France, if they can do that against Argentina, I don't think we're going to be seeing Spain play eight defenders in the box. That's not going to happen. Big up to you, Chris. Good to see you, Chris. So have people been taking delusion pills? Well, it seems that no, only a couple. I think people were voting yes for a joke. I mean, I did say this is going to be the only time we talk about the story because, yeah. So if Tuchel plays Manu is taking the piss. The thing is, when England were winning 1-0, I thought you can bring on Manu and England. The way they should have beaten Argentina, or the way they should have played to beat Argentina, is control possession. I think people get overexcited about pace in midfield, but control possession, keep the ball. You've got to have a credible goal threat on the pitch. You've got to have someone that can cause Argentina problems from an attacking sense. Because when I watched the game, there was no outlet, and England just invited pressure. But you can't have 10 men behind the ball on the edge of your penalty area for half an hour and expect to get something out of a World Cup semi final. It was just ridiculous. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one. Yeah, no, there's a lot of negativity about that game. So why has Manchester United never considered the Spanish tiki-taka style of technical football and say Pep style over athleticism? I think you can do both. I think in terms of you need a bit of athleticism in the Premier League, but I think with Man United, you can have possession football, but be more aggressive and be more attacking. And I think that's what Man United fans wanted to see. So in terms of how Carrick was playing last season, I preferred that to. And we were scoring a lot of goals. We didn't have a lot of controlling games though. I think that was a problem. Like Man United, we did have a lot of situations where, say, last season we're winning, but we're hanging on a little bit. We can't always kill teams off. And maybe against Forest, that would be an example where Anderson was a big problem because defensively we weren't able to like take the sting out of the game. That's something that we used to be able to do. Manchester United used to be able to pass the ball around. They used to be able to keep possession a lot better. So I don't think it's that Man United has never considered this way of playing. I think Manchester United had their own way of playing, which was very good. I would say you keep possession, but it's not as rigid, as not as inflexible as like the tiki taka. For me, it's more dynamic and a bit more exciting, and hopefully we get the balance right as well. And yeah, no, I'm trying not to mention it, but so after the third place, there'll be lots of backlash on social media. No, at the moment, I think if you want to change the way you play, just a quick question, a quick statement, you probably have to change a lot of the players as well. And so I think for Tuchel, if you look at the World Cup as an example, when England went incredibly defensive and they had all men behind the ball on the defense, like, do you think that's something they practiced in training? Do you think that the defenders on the pitch were like, great, we're used to being like six at the back, that it's not something they were familiar with, and it took them out of the, and like Harry Kane on the edge of our box, that's where he's going to be. There's no way he can run the length of the pitch to have any sort of threat. So no, that was for me. It was like one of the disasters the biggest disasters I've ever seen. And even Pep's changed the way he's playing as well. So I think tiki taka is effective if you got the right players. It's effective, but I don't think it's the best way of winning in the Premier League. Pep is, at the moment, Jim, I would just remove Tuchel and then make a decision. That would be. I know people be looking at it and just thinking, which what it's saying. England score 15 minutes. Tuchel put on eight defenders. Oh, it's making my brain hurt actually even thinking about it, isn't it? No. Do you know one thing I said? I did post a few things on social media and said if you wanted if you wanted to defend and play that sort of style of football, why don't you put in Maguire? Like take Maguire into your team. He wins everything in the air. And you don't need to have like a back six. Like have credible defenders. You have like Dan Burn and Harry Maguire. If you're going to defend that sort of deep, have those players in that can win everything in the air. Because at the moment, we played really deep, and we still left loads of space and didn't mark anybody. So, I mean, the players have to take a bit of blame for that. But I think inviting cross after cross after cross, and despite the fact that Messi did foul someone just before the build-up to the second goal, is still annoying. And we saw the Egypt goal disallowed for exactly the same reason. That is also disappointing as well. Make a two slight sticker. Um, I might be able to do stuff, but I think people are going to lose interest relatively quickly. I can maybe make one or two emojis. It depends on like the number. The With the emojis, I can only make them based on like how many people are a channel member. So I might not be able to make any more at the moment. You can use the bottle though. That's always there as well. That's kind of generic for any team that's completely messed up. Um, I don't know. Sometimes it's like managers like I don't know what Pep's plan is. I think he's going to take a bit of time off maybe and then go somewhere where he thinks he's got a 99% chance of winning. Seems to be what Pep does normally. We're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. If anyone's got any final questions, Mark says we'll get Vinicius Junior when he's 30. I don't know. So the Argentina game, poor tactics, poor subs. I've tried to stop talking about this, haven't I? But it's my fault for talking about Vinicius, I think. I did say that I'll talk about the news stories. And at the moment, just a quick question. Vinicius Jr., no one thinks it's going to happen. Is there a reason why all this news is coming out? Is it an indication that Man United are not going to be doing anything this weekend and there's going to be no deals, no immediate transfer news as yet? So I think when I see loads of Vinicius Junior stories, my first thought is, Man United are not going to make an offer. Like they got the England game, they got all this other drama going on. I don't think we're going to hear anything in the next couple of days regarding, say, Kone or other players. So I think this might just be journalists pushing stuff out because there's not a lot out there at the moment, like a lot of credible news. So that's why I think they were going to be seeing some of these sort of stories as well. Yeah, no, we didn't get Nagelsmann, we didn't get Tuchel. To be honest, yeah, not bad dodging those. And based on what I've seen with Nagelsmann and Tuchel, I don't see how they would be better Manchester United managers than Michael Carrick. I think Tuchel, when there's pressure on, he went so defensive. I'm just thinking we might have got lucky with not getting Tuchel at Manchester United. So maybe that was a good decision. Malp says Wrexham will be more up for it than us. I think so, Malps. I think for Manchester United, it's very much a case of. And actually, does the Championship start earlier than the Premier League? Like, I'm just trying to think. And also, their players won't have international football, so to the same extent. So Wrexham are going to have their first team. And put it this way: if Manchester United were playing an FA Cup match against Wrexham, and Wrexham have got their first team, etc., and they got their first team out, it's going to be difficult. If Man United put out a second string team in the FA Cup against the top Championship team, it's going to be a really difficult game. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult to. I don't think Man United are going to go to Wrexham and control the game, dominate the game, win like whatever it is people are expecting, because Wrexham will have their first team out. Manchester United will be largely playing players that didn't play for international, loads of academy players. As Chris said, yeah, lots of speculation, lots of speculation. I don't want to comment too much on other channels, but yeah, lots of say Pep for England. I wouldn't mind. Like I wouldn't mind. I mean, when Man City got him, I just hate Man City, but Pep has been a winner. The thing is, I would say at the moment, if you're going to look for England, you've got to choose a manager that's going to get over the line. The reason why Tuchel was hired was to win. Like we got to finals, we got to semi-finals in the World Cup. So as far as I can see, Tuchel has done nothing Gareth Southgate didn't do. Like all the teams we beat, we were kind of expected to beat. When we came up against a team which was even match for England, we kind of folded. And I think we folded because the manager made poor decisions. So I think we have to say, like, Tuchel, he failed. His job was to win the World Cup. And if England had played really well and Argentina had just played phenomenal, or if England had got to the final and lost to Spain, I wouldn't be saying the same thing. But I think because of the nature of the way we got eliminated, it just makes you think, why couldn't we have done like why couldn't we have kept the ball? Why was Mainu not even in the team? Like if you got players that can't and why did he not put? It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Why didn't he not put? If Michael Carrick was manager of England, would we have done better in that match? Like, would he have gone ultra defensive? Would he have taken all the attacking options off? I mean, I can't think he would be. Do I think promoted teams will get instantly relegated? I'm trying to think. I would say see what happens in the transfer window. If you remember last year, Sunderland made some big signings and some good signings. Then yeah, maybe maybe that the team's gonna come up and have a good chance. We'll probably find out very soon, won't we? Because Man United are going to play a couple of the promoted teams in the first two or three matches, so we maybe be able to assess them, see how they do. Sometimes there's always one team, like I think, trying to think what it's been like. Say, there's always one team that sometimes comes up, and they're going to get relegated. Like Ipswich are always going to struggle, and Southampton came up and they were just dreadful. So there's always going to be one team that comes up and is poor. I think you've got Hull, you've got is it Ipswich and Coventry. So I think Coventry did really well last season. I'm wondering if they're going to take some of that momentum, maybe sign some players, etc. So you could see that as well. Any news on Kone, or is it the same bullshit about expected bid? Says Kenny. Yeah, let's cut through the crap, Kenny. As far as I can see, there's no new news on Kone apart from expected bid. So look out for lots of YouTube channels where it's like bid expected, bid now, blah, 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 blah. Nothing's actually happened so far. And that's one of the reasons why I just did something different because I can't talk about Kone every single day. when nothing's actually happened. So no, Man United keeping things close to their chest. That's probably it. So maybe Carrick's the answer. I mean, I think Michael Carrick's a good coach. I think next season we're going to find out a lot more and see how he does. So just be open minded, see what he can do. I think Nagelsmann, I don't know, maybe a bit overhyped. I mean, everyone's like talking about the German players, saying how good Nemeka is, how good Angela Stiller is, how good like other players are for Germany. And I thought Germany got unlucky with VAR decision, but they were largely quite poor in the World Cup, apart from thrashing the Caruso, which, let's be honest, Caruso aren't really World Cup level quality opposition, are they? No. If anyone's got any questions, I'll be live for a couple more minutes and then I'll head off. But there's, like I said, there's not a lot of news, so I'm going to keep streams a little bit shorter. But I'll try and do a regular stream each day just to give people an opportunity just to discuss the news in a sensible environment, I think is the best way of putting it on YouTube. Now, I think, yeah, I would say Pep is a good option, like good option. You need to get. I would say for someone like Pep and like Tuchel, why not give them a contract give them a 2 year contract and go right? We're going to go to the Euros 2028. The idea is to win that tournament, right? Can you win that tournament? We got the players to choose from. We're going to have most of the same players we had this season. I mean, Jordan Henderson obviously won't be there, hopefully, and we might see Manu actually get into the team. It'd be interesting to see which players Pep rates as well. That would be quite interesting. I think the squad some strange decisions by Tuchel. Like some of the decisions were a bit weird that he took and didn't take. So yeah, I'd be interested. I think England manager should be like a 2 year contract and see. Germany's first striker is Havertz. That's not great, is it? That's not great. Bilal. Yeah, would anything change your mind, Bilal? I mean, I'm 100% with you on Glazers out. I'm probably like actually 90% with Ineos at the moment. But we'll see. No, I'll have to jump off and get some food in a second, Stephanie. You're making me hungry. Pep would win us the Euros nailed on, says Chris. I think it would be genuinely interesting to see, say, why not an English coach? I think people at this point in time, Al, I don't think people will care who the coach is from. I think most people say, we want to win the league and say, you think Pep's style of football is boring? I think at this point in time, Cake, we watched boring football with Gareth Southgate. We watched boring football with Tuchel. If we watch boring football but we win the Euros, I mean, the problem is lots of us have watched England for decades and we've never won anything, and we just want to see, know, this is probably the closest we got to winning something. I think Terry Venables in 1996. That might be the closest we got, and the football was quite exciting at that point in time. And I think I started feeling that this team that say under Glenn Hoddle. I don't know. I think the 2002 team was very good. Like a lot of good players in that team. Just needed a striker, maybe. Just needed like someone that's going to be taking them over the edge. But midfield options, defensive options. England had a great team then. I think England have got a decent team now, but they don't have I think like say 1996 to 2004, there were loads of people. Anyone alive to remember 1996? I don't know. Did anyone at all? I mean, as far as I know, I don't think anyone was. I don't think I know anyone that's apart from people of a different generation. I don't know. I don't think so, Al. I don't think anyone's watching that was alive then. Yeah, if we're going to watch the Euros, and at least the Euros won't be like 100 teams like the World Cup's become. I don't mind watching a few disappointing games and win something. Then I mean, you can play defensive. If you look at Spain play in a way which is probably boring for the opposition, but it's actually if you support Spain, it's probably good to watch because you're controlling games, you've got lots of possession, etc. Big up to you, Tommy. Say you can watch the first 10 minutes after Tommy and just say this is definitely one where Spanish journalists are working overtime to try and create a story, but no one Manchester United wise, no one in the channel is going to believe this nonsense. So Vinicius Junior will be a Real Madrid player, is my thoughts, Tommy. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see. There's always going to be some hype regarding this one as well. So, final few comments. If you got some comments you want to put in, say Pep's team versus Argentina would keep the ball and probably score again. They'd put the ball in the fridge, wouldn't they? Like they did with us. I think the players are there to choose from to do that as well. Bring back Steve McLaren. I don't know. I don't think we can bring back Steve McLaren. As a strong Pep hater, I can abandon my principles and say, let's get him for England. Have you changed your mind in the last 2 minutes, Cake? It's strong, yeah. I'm not a fan of Pep when he's a manager of Man City or Barcelona, but as an England fan, I would just go right, get him in, let's win it, then he can go. But if he won the Euros, keep him for the World Cup. Let's try and win that as well, and then go. But no, I think you just got to get over the line. England don't need someone that's going to be there to. And actually, maybe Pep would be a good manager because I think Pep's there. He's not going to develop youth, is he? He's going to just pick the teams ready to win on that day, and hopefully that would be good. But guys, I'm going to head off. If Yeah, exactly. It's disappointing when you got a team that's capable of winning. It makes it more annoying. That's the thing. If England had a crap team, I wouldn't be that bothered. But because England have got a team that should be capable of doing more, that's the frustrating thing. So we might do a calling show at 6. I did put a post on the channel. Please let me know what you're thinking. Dan Brown. Oh God, I'm getting like I think for me this is the most disappointing game I've watched for so long. I mean, and I watched all of Amarin's games, and I didn't watch the Grimsby game because I was on holiday, so I didn't see that game. But the game against Argentina was the most disappointing game I've watched for so long. That's why it's still kind of making me annoyed when we talk about it. But there might be a calling show at 6. Please just vote. Let me know what you think on the channel community page. If there's some interest in that match, we will cover it and we will do a quick discussion, quick calling show. And GWAS going to be doing a watch along for the third place match, which, to be honest, I'll just be too angry to watch if we see Kerry Mainu playing. I hope Kerry Mainu just tells Tuchel to fuck off, and I hope the rest of the players have a similar sort of sentiment. And I hopefully we get a new manager. That's all I can say regarding that one. And I generally back managers for my club, but I think for this one, it's got ridiculous, isn't it? Um, Eze and Reece James in midfield. Oh, what can I say? What can I say? Just apologise if you get offended by swearing. I don't tend to swear too much, but in this instance, that's a lot tamer than what I was saying during the match. Tommy says, "What time does the Wrexham game kick off?" It's going to be a 4 p.m. kickoff, and it's going to finish at, I guess, roughly 6 p.m. So something like so. If I do a show, it'll be 6 to like 6:45 or something like that as well. Oh, yeah, I think it's going to make it. I think people are going to get extra angry about that. Really annoyed. Really annoyed. Big up to you, Billy. Just about to wrap up. We might do something at 6. We might do something at 6 after the Wrexham game. But thanks for getting involved last night as well. It's going to be good to talk about proper football. I talked about Vinicius for like 20, 30 minutes, and we've been talking about England. And unfortunately, it's just making me angry about it. And I was going to go off and get some food. But big up to you, Chris. Good to see you in the chat. And yeah, no, to be honest, yeah, I just hope Kobe Mainoo just goes, right, I'm not going to play in this pointless game. This is now like an exhibition friendly game. I hope Kobe Mainoo goes. I hope England just let. I mean, it's just going to be. Have I been to Wrexham? Have I been to Wrexham? Um, I was trying to think. I think I've stopped at Wrexham when. What was the scenario? Yeah, I've been to Wrexham, but stopped for some food, and I'm trying to think whether it's coming back from Manchester watching United, or coming back from a holiday. And I've been to Wrexham. It might have been coming back from a holiday in like the Lake District, or it's coming back from Manchester watching Man United play. One of those scenarios. But it's like it's North Wales, isn't it? So I had to drive past it to go to Manchester. But yeah, I wouldn't go and visit it. Put it that way. Um, but no. So I have been there. I couldn't really comment on the town because I don't know. We just stopped past it. But yeah, I get a bit of Tourette's when I talk about Tuchel. It's the same way with like Amrin. I think it's something about overly defensive managers bottling winning positions that triggers me. Everyone's got their kind of the thing that annoys them, haven't they? Oh yeah, Nana was a joke, wasn't he? Don't get me started on that. Um, I'll be up to you, Quinn. So it's a hell no. Yeah, don't worry about that one, Quinn. Just a question for you, Quinn. If you're around at 6 p.m., let me know if you fancy joining a call-in show because I might do something then. I was going to try and finish up, but loads of people keep joining the stream, so I'm just trying to advertise and say 6 p.m. If you want to do a call-in show, I'll set one up, drop the link. You guys can just come on, have your say, rather than me talking about it. So it would be good to like have a discussion about preseason matches because I think I want to talk about Man United rather than moaning about Tuchel as well. So imagine calling the 18 for help and Cagney and Lacey turn up. That's what's watching the third place game is like. It's just I don't think I've ever watched the third place game because as soon as like can you imagine if Man United got to the semi final of the FA Cup and lost, and you're so gutted you got to a semi-final and lost, and they go right now you're going to play against the other team that lost. Like, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, who cares? Like, why have this match? It's just another money-making scheme, isn't it? Yeah, Cagney and Lacey, you can tell that most people in the chat are from the UK, but otherwise those references will definitely not definitely not work in like a few countries around the world as well. Yeah, if you watch the game or don't watch the game, Corinne, no, please come on. Like, please come on. If a few people come, if a few people are interested, I'll do it. But I don't want to do a call-in show where I sit here waiting for people to call in. Anyway, guys, I'm going to head off. So 6 p.m. is the time, and if you're interested, let me know. And it's live on MUTV. It is live on MUTV. And I guess if you're in different countries, you might have access different ways as well. But no, Man United play Wrexham. Maybe this will be on Amazon later. Maybe Santos. Hopefully, Santos is going to play. I imagine there's going to be loads of academy players playing as well. So we'll cover that later. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and thanks for subscribing. And appreciate the support from channel members and big up to your moderators as well. 6 p.m. Check out that sort of time. Hopefully, we're doing something then. Until then, have a good rest of your rest of your day. Vinicius Junior not happening. If anyone says it's going to happen, just say no. It's definitely not going to happen. Anyway, take it easy, guys. We'll see you soon.